Oh my god, I'm actually finally starting towards the front of a random race. I'm not in the mess at the back anymore. No way. This is beautiful. Season 3 now of the MCEC. We're on Ron Raceway this time, starting in the blister. We got another 30 cars to go through from this season. Maybe I can have a better race than I did for the Season 2 race. But I drove all of these cars in Season 3, so this is going to be a real throwback. This video is brought to you by all the ways to stay updated on what's happening with me. Visit bruffy.com/stay updated to find links to my social media, subreddit, Discord server, and info on where to read monthly update posts. Alright. Ron Raceway. We're on the national circuit because it includes possibly the single most contentious moment in MCEC history. Or certainly the most contentious moment that I've been involved in. With the no Macy no situation going into the chicane. We'll talk about that when we get the vans, I assume, in the race. This is the chicane. But another 30 cars to go through. We got 60 people in this race, which is the second most we've ever had in any kind of random race, and certainly the most for a random more / random select. Z-type. So we started in the blister, which was our GT2 car from round 4. Z-type for the Sport Classic round. Was that round 1? Yeah, GT1 round 1. Thought it was. Got the top speed to get into the lead. Yes. Look at me in the lead of a multi-class endurance championship race. Not quite, but in the lead of a random race as well. It won't last. But Season 3 was like the biggest mistake I ever did, really. We obviously had Season 1, which was like, hey, here's the quicker Penumbra again. The Penumbra's featured in a few MCEC seasons, especially the early ones. Season 1 was like starting it off, and we just literally, like, Season 1 we didn't even set the grid or anything, we just went from, you know, the countdown at the start of a race. Round 2 GT3 for the Penumbra. But Season 2 was like a bit more organised, and I tried to, you know, get the videos up to scratch and have high production quality for those and stuff like that. And then but Season 2 was primarily, it was only really on PS4, and then the Xbox One I didn't really focus on, but it did happen. And then the PC one came after. They like did their own version of Season 2. Because I don't know if PC actually existed for GTA 5 when we did Season 2 the first time. The cheetah. Beautiful. The GT2 car for round 10 in the Supers class. I remember driving this. I had some major flips in this on the North Loop, I think. But yeah, Season 3 was the first time where we sort of had everything happening all at once. So PS4, Xbox One, and PC all running together. Season 3 was the first time we had that. And like an idiot, I decided to race on all 3 platforms. I won in this car. Yeah, I do remember that. It was a good race on the North Loop, that final round in GT2 on PS4. So the Windsor. I remember vaguely trying to get the Windsor around the North Loop. That was GT3 for the Coupes class. So back in Season 3 we had a system where there was a percentage chance that it was going to rain for each of the rounds. And I would do a little random.org thing to see if it actually rained for the race. And it was independent of each platform, so the race might be raining for the PS4... for Xbox and then not raining for PC, and then it was raining for PS4 or something. I won in this car as well, there you go. But yeah, I raced in all of the races in Season 3 and it was the biggest mistake ever. I was so burnt out by it. The Yuga. Here we go, Vans on Ron Raceway. The Yuga was the GT2 car. In fact, this was the car that I got taken out in. This was the race on PS4 on Ron Raceway in the Yuga. Round 3, GT2. Coming into the chicane, just round this right-hander. And then Macy comes up the inside of me in the gang burrito, and I say those iconic words. No, Macy, no. No, Macy. You can't go for it there, Macy. I swear to God. And he took me out. I don't think I was going to win that race, but it certainly cost me the chance of winning, and it's certainly a decent result. DiNmiTe insert the clip here, please. Yeah, so I did GT1 on Xbox. I did GT2 on PS4 and GT3 on PC, but I was a little bit too fast on PC, so I used to hamper myself and give myself a nerf by not applying an engine, and then if I still did well, I'd not apply the turbo, and then if I didn't win, I'd reapply the turbo. Like, tried to balance it a little bit, but I did actually end up winning the championship in GT3 on PC and GT1 on Xbox. I won both those championships in Season 3. And I came close to winning GT2 on PS4 as well, actually. But I just burnt myself out too much. So I performed relatively well sometimes. Oh my God. But I was so burnt out by finishing in all those races, by racing all the races. I was doing 3 hour-and-a-half long races every single weekend. 4.5 hours of high-level, concentrating, competitive racing. It was too much. Round 7 GT3 car for the Patriot, the Guardian. This was one of those that was... because the Guardian's technically in the industrial class, so even though it was an off-road class race, this was one that did feature as part of a proper multi-class race. One of the very few multi-class MCEC races we've actually had. So that looks like it's the habanero roll instead of the habanero roll. I understand why. We'll talk about it when we get to it. Guardian was round 6 in GT3. I do remember it. They were difficult to overtake, the Guardians. I remember that. Just so big and relatively grippy for their size. We do have some changes. There was 2 of them. The Cognoscenti 5.5 is taking place of the Cognoscenti Cabrio, which isn't on the server. The Bobcat XL, we're getting through the Vans on it was a stupid idea to do Ron Raceway in Vans, to be fair. It was one of the worst rounds we've ever done. And especially the Bobcat XL being the GT3 car. Is he not gonna... Okay, he is, but too late. Especially the Bobcat XL being the GT3 car. It was so boring. Round 3 was Vans on Ron Raceway. Bobcat XL was GT3. We had the Yuga for GT2 and the Gang Burrito for GT1. I quite enjoyed the Gang Burrito race, if I remember correctly, on Xbox. But the other two were painfully slow. But yeah, there's a reason I didn't do multiple platforms of racing when we got to Season 4. It was a big mistake. So burnt out. Tailgater. That was GT2 on Los Santos GP, I think. Yeah. Didn't I have a meltdown in this race? I feel like I had a meltdown in this round. I had an absolute nightmare race. GT2, I was actually in a really big fight for the championship on PS4. And I couldn't handle the pressure of it because I was burning myself out with the other races. I might have had a good chance of winning the championship on PS4 GT2 if I hadn't done all the others, I think. But it was no good. I still had some decent results despite all that, and I still did well in the championship, I think, for PS4 GT2. And the fact that I won the two other championships, and GT1 went right down to the wire on the North Loop race as well. But yeah, I suppose it makes sense that we've had the most number of people, the highest number of people in this race with 60. Because it was also the season where I did the highest number of races in general in my own season. I don't remember anything about the race in this car. I remember nothing. I don't remember where it was. How I did. Round 9 GT3, you were 3rd. Round 9? LSGP. Oh yeah, okay. Karuma. That was round 2, Olympic GP. Oh yeah, I didn't win a race, did I? In GT2 until that final round in the Cheetah. I seem to remember. I've been winning races in GT1 and GT3 on the other platforms. And I'd been having, that was what Season 3 was all about. I'd been having good performances, but then making stupid mistakes. I think I can remember from the PS4 races, because it was always the final race, wasn't it? Like we did Xbox and then PC on the Saturday. And then by the time the PS4 GT2 race came around, holy shit, that's an absolute massive takeout. By the time the PS4 race came around, I was dead. So I'd have good pace and I'd keep making stupid mistakes. So my results were never too bad, but I'd never win. And until that final race in the Cheetah, when I actually got the win. Dominator makes another showing again. Round 8 GT1 car. There's some cars that have shown up multiple times, and I think the Dominator and the Huntley S, well, a variation of it, because we've had the Dominator and then we did the Pisswasser Dominator, but if you count them as both the same, it's the Dominator and the Huntleys that have been in the most MCEC seasons. I think they've been in all 5 seasons at this point, I think. Not going to be in Season 6 though. Every car in Season 6 is going to be new. But some combinations just work so well. Cognoscenti 5.5. So this is taking the place of the Cognoscenti Cabrio that isn't available for us to select for these races. Thanks again to DiNmiTe for setting it up. This was round 5 GT2 car, the Cognoscenti Cabrio. It's crazy to think that season 3, and I only noticed this when I looked at the spreadsheet just beforehand, season 3 is basically 10 years old. It didn't occur to me, but no wonder I can't remember much about it. Season 3 took place in early 2016. I think it was March 2016 when we got started with it. Which is just madness to think that that was 10 years ago. Season 2 was 2015. Season 1 was 2014. Brawler was the GT1 car for the off-road race, I'm pretty sure. It was a good car for that, I think, because it required a lot of skill, because, you know, with the braking and stuff. Round 6 GT1. It doesn't have very good brakes. Tell you what, it's nice to be racing at the front. We're obviously having differences in the positions based on the different cars. We're halfway through the race now. It will all come together by the end. But it's nice to be in this top 5 at least. The Prairie. Had a Prairie again. Also the class selections. That limited the cars that we could have. Like certain classes, you know, there wasn't that much choice. You look at compacts and coupes, for example. They didn't have much in the way of DLC cars for a long time. So when you wanted to do a different class in every race, you were kind of, you know, we tried to double up on sports cars in season 2, but for season 3 I really did want every platform to be the same, have the same cars, have the same tracks, have the same, you know, have a different class for every single race. And there's not many cars to choose from, so that's why we get a lot of repeats a lot of the time throughout these seasons. Part of it being nostalgia and thinking they worked well together as classes, but also part of it being there wasn't much choice. For some of the classes anyway. The Bodie. This was our GT3? What was it, GT2 for off-roads? It was GT2. Oh yeah, the Guardian was GT3. Okay, so we've completed the off-road race. Round 6. You were 7th in this. That doesn't sound good. That has to be one of my worst MCEC results of all time, considering it's 7 out of 9. I don't remember anything about the race, to be honest. Blaine County 24 hours in this. I must have erased it from my memory. Alright, the Massacro Olympic GP alongside the Karuma for round 2. This was the GT1 car. We had the Massacro race car for season 2. And then the Jester ended up being quicker than it. Didn't make that mistake for season 3, just put in the Massacro with the Karuma as the GT2. Such a good car though. It was also in season 1 as well. A lot of traffic. Oh, here we go. Here we go, habanero roll. Nice and easy. So I can see why the habanero roll's been put in by DiNmiTe. So the actual GT2 car was the habanero. But of course, this meme came from something. And it was from the MCEC. The habanero, the regular one, it rolled so many... We had it on Olympic GP, right? And it was just prone to rolling over. Just the regular car. That's just the nature of the car. So obviously, it became a meme during this season. And then Project Homecoming created the accentuated version of it, which is always the best way to create a meme car. Just take something that already exists, some characteristic of the car, and just make it worse. Doesn't need to be overcomplicated. End of the highway, straight the right-hander. I remember the one going down to the double right-hander before you went onto the highway. I always remember that first right-hander being one as well, where I would see people roll it there quite a lot. Because you'd take a lot of speed into it and try to carry a lot of speed around, but it was also slightly banked. So that was where the meme of the habanero roll came from. You'd have to watch Season 3's rounds with the SUVs to get the origin story for that. Rhapsody. We switched out the Panto for the Rhapsody for compacts, so at least we had something different in GT1. Round 4. Los Santos GP. Oh, what a scumbag! And the bullet again. Again, another thing where it was like not as much choice. Because, you know, this is only 2016. It's not as if we're getting super fast supercars that are really pushing the speed of cars along. You know, we're in a Osiris T20. This is before even the X80 and the Cunning Studs update and stuff. So the Osiris and the T20 were only just a little bit faster than the Zentorno that we'd been using previously. I think we used the Osiris as the GT1 car for the Supers round, in the final round. But, you know, you just had to go with the Bullet. The Bullet was the only one to use for GT3. Because if you used anything faster, the gaps between all the GTs wasn't big enough, because the GT1 cars weren't getting particularly quicker. Thanks, Moggy. Try and do his friggin' handbrake boost. The Huntley S, another one that was less choice because it was one of the better ones. The fastest SUV for a long time, so it was just the default GT1 car for the SUVs round. That's where Season 6 is going to be good, I think, because there's so many new cars that we can say it's going to be all new vehicles. We're not going to have to reuse anything from previous rounds, previous seasons. Can I get into third before we get to the end of this lap? No, but I can do fourth. Lots of traffic. Exemplar! Was this our GT1 for the coupes round? Did I switch it up and use the Exemplar instead of the Zion? I feel like that's something that I would do. Yeah, it was GT1 for round 5. There you go. Oh, almost. Oh, wow, I almost got wiped out. Nightshade. GT3 car for the muscle round, and that was on Ron Raceway as well, wasn't it? I seem to remember driving the Nightshade around Ron Raceway, and it was really, really boring. It was a bad choice. Too grippy, too slow. I won the race in this car? Oh well, there you go. Shows what I can remember. It was 10 years ago. It's crazy that we had 3 MCEC seasons before we even had Cunning Stunts and the Stunt Race Creator for stunt tracks and whatnot. We were all on the old tracks. It was very old school. So the Voltic is such a forgettable car that it was never a choice for GT3. Well, you got to keep in mind the Voltic. Hey, here we go, the Gang Burrito. Another one that was used on Ron Raceway. We've completed the Vans round now. But you got to remember the Voltic was... it's like, what, 2.5 seconds per lap quicker than the Bullet? And then it becomes too close to whatever your GT2 car is. Plus it's also really boring to drive and the skill gap is much less in it, so the Bullet was always the better pick. Bigger gap from GT1 to GT2 to GT3 and just a much better driving experience. You were third in this one. I do remember that battle for the top 3 though. It was an incredible battle, I'm pretty sure, on Xbox in the Gang Burritos on Ron. That was like when the championship fight on Xbox was hotting up. I got lucky to win that GT1 championship, to be fair. But I got unlucky in other championships, so I'll take it. Stinger GT. Beautiful machine. It's closing up at the front. I feel like we're going to be in a battle over this top 5. Got 4 cars to go after this. Hopefully they're all still quick. I've still got the Osiris that I haven't had yet. Hopefully people in front have got their habanero lap to do, maybe. Alright, what's next? Shafter V12. This is technically not the right car because we used the armoured Shafter V12 for the sedans race. But it's the same thing, basically. Round 9, I think, alongside the tailgater. I won in this car. Cool. Did I win in the Stinger as well? Round 1 GT3. Yeah, okay. Oh man, it really has all Mild was way out in the lead, but now he's at his habanero lap. So it's all like closing in. It really is closing in. It's what these random select races always do. It all comes together towards the end. This was before you were washed, remember? That's true. Well, no, I was getting washed. I was burning myself out in Season 3. Corker Classic. This was round 1 as well, wasn't it? GT2. I remember having an absolute nightmare in this race. It is worth it for me to hold these guys up in the faster cars. Especially with us being so close to the end. Bringing back some of my MCEC defensive driving. Might not matter if they've got a quick car to go or something, but... the hard D we all love. The Gauntlet. Oh, the Osiris is going to be my last car then. I don't know where to go. The top 2 are very close. Just around the further parts of the lap. There's a lot of cars in between us though. Crazy that there's been 60 people in this race. It has felt very full, but also for a short track, it's felt okay. There's been plenty of space at least to make overtakes. Round 8 GT2. You were second there. Okay. Oh, so much traffic. Alright, it's going to be the Osiris as my final car, I think. There it is. The car that I took to the victory in the championship. This was the final round, GT1. And it's what got me the championship win in GT1 on Xbox. Okay, I'm not going to catch 12 seconds on a prairie. I think it's all going to be about keeping the podium. Good car to finish in though. Finished in a round 10 car, and the car that took me to the championship win in GT1. The only GT1 championship I won in the only GT1 season that I participated in. Finishing 3rd in Season 3. GG's to the top 2. That was close, that was fun as well. Thanks for the GG's. That's where I started. I was 3rd on the grid, wasn't I? So I've literally not gone forward or backwards. I've just stayed exactly where I started on the grid. It was a fairly clean race though. I managed to stay out of trouble. I had some decent pace. Decent overtaking and defending sometimes when I needed to. That was a nice little race. In our biggest player count race as well. 60 people for the season that I did the most races in. I did all 30 races this season. 4.5 hours per week for 10 weeks. That's too much. That's too much racing across 10 weeks. Fun race. Nice to be having a decent performance for a change. And a good counter to the disconnection I had for the season 2 race. So we're going to do 2 more. Next week will be the season 4 race, which will also be 30 cars because we did 10 rounds for that. And then the week after that will be the season 5 race, which will be 24 cars because we only did 8 rounds for season 5. And then that will be the Friday. That will be going up live, that video, the Friday before the Season 6 MCEC starts on the weekend, on the Sunday. So it's all calculated perfectly. This one's probably going to be my best race, though. I don't think the Season 4 and Season 5 races are going to do any better. I had a good starting position, to be fair. I just took that to the line. It was fun, though.